I still feel like I'm really sick. Oh my God, I can't believe I'm filming this because I'm still pretty sick, but, oh, I'm sick, by the way. Nice to meet you. But I must be feeling better because I need to get this video filmed, so cheers. We are doing our monthly reading wrap up for March, as well as my April TBR with a twist, the twist being that I was very sick for 2 weeks out of March. So I feel like I lost 2 weeks of reading, productivity. I mean, I was doing really well with YouTube for once, posting like twice a week. I was ahead of my content, I had a plan, and then I got sick and I just feel very behind. So this isn't a video to complain about that, but I do feel like it's important because it affected my reading habits this month, and I really thought I was gonna have such a great reading month, like 8-10 books that I could come back and share with you. But I mean, 5 books in 1 month is still pretty impressive, especially when it was only like 2 weeks of active reading. So even though I still feel like not myself, in a haze, brain fog, fatigued, coughing a lot, we're gonna film this video. If this is one of your first videos that you're seeing of me, I'm a little bit less energetic as I usually am, but it's because I'm not feeling the best. I'm going to link all of my book videos and my book playlist down below. I post a lot of book content on my TikTok, and then I have a book Instagram account, my bookstagram, Booking It with Mac. So I will link that and my Goodreads down below, as well as my Amazon list with all of these books mentioned, just in a very easy collective place for you to buy them. If there's any books on Amazon that you want to get, I'll leave my storefront. Let's get into these books though. So real quick, let's do a wrap up for the books that I finished in March, and then we'll get into what I want to read in April. Like I mentioned, I was off to a great start this last month. I was reading like 4 or 5 books. I read about 4 books in 2 weeks, so I really felt like I could do it, read 8 to 10 books in 1 month. And then I got sick and I couldn't read for like a week and a half because I was severely sick. Like, I think it might have been COVID. My fever was almost 104. I was just on Dayquil and NyQuil around the clock just to function, and my brain was like I wouldn't have been able to have read, you know? Like, I was too sick to read, which sucks. I was obviously too sick to get work done, and it was just not a fun time. I was literally in survival mode. I lost a lot of reading time. This is everything I read up to that moment. So the first book that I finished in March, I think I started it in February, so it went into the next month, but I finished it in March, was Sarah Adams' Practice Makes Perfect. I really liked this book. I thought it was the cutest little rom-com, so well written, so well done. It was corny, but like in a really well done way. I really enjoyed this. I think if you like romance books, you would love it. There's like zero spice in this book, but the plot is like so well done where it just, it stands on its own. I'm so sorry, like I feel like I'm still in such a weird haze. I just hope this turns out. I don't know why I'm pushing myself so hard to make this, but I gave this book 4 stars though, and I think I would recommend it to anybody that likes rom-coms. The next book that I read was One of Us is Lying by Karen McManus. I heard a lot about this book, but unfortunately, I did not like this book. I gave this book 1 or 2 stars. Might have even been 1 star. It was so bad, so problematic. A lot of the reviews on Goodreads cover why this book is problematic, why the plot doesn't work. I'm so confused how it got a TV show. This kind of gave me the same feeling that the show 13 Reasons Why gave me. The ending is very predictable. I predicted the ending, and not in like a satisfying way, in a way of like, oh, I really hope they don't do that, and they did. Without giving it away, it is just such a terrible plot, and it doesn't work for so many reasons. If you're looking for a good thriller, do not read this book. It is YA, so I'm curious what I would have thought about that book as a teenager, but I don't think it would have been good. I think I might have been a little bit naive to some of the problematic parts of it, but like, it's just not good. I probably could talk more about it, and I do have a reading vlog, but I just can't. The next book that I read though was the first 5-star read of the year. So I guess March was pretty exciting because it had my first 5-star read in it. And it gave me that feeling that I haven't had reading a book since 2022 with Evelyn Hugo. So really great top tier book. Lisa Jewell's None of This Is True. I would recommend this to everybody. Even if you don't like thrillers, I feel like this is one of those exception books where I'm like, please just try this book. Like, you will love this. 5-star read, love the plot. Lisa Jewell is so amazing at writing very meticulously done, well-written plots. I mean, there's so many details in this book, but they're all meaningful, and I feel like they all still work really well together. I wish I could read this book again for the first time. I could not put it down. There were moments when I was reading this book where I forgot that I was reading a book and I thought I was watching a Netflix show, and I was thinking like, oh, I want to watch that show later tonight. There is no show. I was reading this book. It was so amazing, and I miss that feeling. So Lisa Jewell immediately has become one of my favorite thriller authors, and her mind is just like amazing. Like, what's really great about this plot too is it has that like questionable narrator in a way where you just like, you don't know what to believe and you're taken on this journey. It's very similar. It gave me the same feeling as like Gone Girl, Girl on the Train, or like A Simple Favor did, but really, really great. The next book that I read, this is when I got sick. So I started this next book and then couldn't finish it for like 2 weeks because I was sick, but it was Lucy Foley's The Paris Apartment. This was such a letdown. I really had high hopes for this book. I mean, I was coming off of the high of reading None of This Is True, and I thought I heard good things about this book, so I was like, yeah, let's read a good thriller. It flopped. It just was not what I expected, and very similarly to One of Us Is Lying, this book, I felt like it was missing that one thing that you need to write a thriller or whodunit without giving it away, but like you need a body, like you need somebody to actually be murdered. I don't know, I don't want to give away too much of this book, but I wouldn't recommend it. It wasn't good. I kept waiting to get into the book, but it never happened. I never got attached to any of the characters. There were plot holes. There were parts of the plot that were never like answered. Really just overall a flop. So this was a 2-star read. And I think I've realized the difference between like a 2-star read and a 3-star read to me is a 3-star is like, I would still recommend that book even if it wasn't for me. But a 2-star read is I would not recommend that book to anyone. And that was a 2-star read. And the next book that I read in March that I think I will carry over to April because I'm still reading it is The Love Hypothesis by Ali Hazelwood. I just wanted something easy to kind of end this month with. Like I mentioned, I'm still in a pretty heavy brain fog and I'm just not feeling the best yet. So reading a fluffy romance book is kind of all that my mind can handle right now. I'm only 65 pages into it so far, so I feel like the plot is still being established, but it's a fake dating trope and we'll see. That's all I have to say for that book right now. But that is what I read in March. That is basically what I read in 2 weeks, to be honest, because I missed 2 weeks like I mentioned. Big bummer. I'm pretty sad about it. I need to just let it be though and move on. It always sucks when you lose time. We all get that, so just gotta move on. Speaking of moving on, I've got a lot of good books on my TBR list for April. Here's my April TBR. I would have added more, but you know, I'm still kind of getting back into the groove of things, so I think this is a solid amount of books on the list, and hopefully I can read them all. If I don't get sick again, I can easily read all of these this month. The first book on my April TBR list is, wow, just completely brain fog, like nothing going on in here. Let's try that again. But the first book on my April TBR list is Love and Other Words by Christina Lauren. I've heard a lot of great things about this book, so I'm very intrigued. I guess my expectations are kind of high because a lot of people have said that they really like this book. It seems like a springy book. I hope it's good. That's all I can really say. This is my TBR list. I don't have much to say, and I don't like knowing a lot about a book going into it. I like kind of reading things blind, so I know it's a love story. I think it's childhood friends to lovers. We'll see where that takes us. The next book on my list to read though is Hostage by Claire McIntosh. I recently found this while thrifting and it looks so good. I've never really heard of it before. I've never seen it on TikTok or like any book accounts, but it's basically a hostage situation on a plane. I think the protagonist is a flight attendant. The person holding them hostage, I think, is threatening her daughter's life, so she can either save her daughter's life or save the plane. I have trust issues now that I know I don't like Lucy Foley's writing, but Lucy Foley did have the little quote at the bottom and she said, jaw-dropping twists. So we shall see. I think I'm gonna like the plot of this being like a plane hostage situation. I've seen movies like that and I like it. I don't have any trips coming up, and that's like the one thing is if I were flying on a plane soon, I would not want to read this. Like imagine reading this on a flight. I feel like that's the worst type of manifestation. So luckily I'm not traveling anywhere soon, and that's why I think it would be a good time to read this. And I'm also starting to think that I prefer thrillers over romance books. So I wanted to make sure I had some thrillers on this list. The next book on my TBR list is Lisa Scottoline's Look Again. I've always been intrigued by this book, and I've always been intrigued by Lisa Scottoline's writing. I think I have like 2 or 3 of her books on my big TBR pile in my room. So hopefully I like the way that she writes, but basically the plot of this book is a mom notices a missing child's like "have you seen me" ad, and the boy in the ad looks just like her adopted son. That is like the ethical part of this plot. It says that it's an emotionally charged, heart-pounding thriller, so I'm curious to see what the thriller element of this is, if it's just like the mystery of like him being kidnapped and going missing and what to do. That plot itself is enough for me to want to read this, and I think the coloring of this book looks very spring. Like, this is what the weather looks like today, for real. A big way of how I choose my books too for each month plays into like how the cover makes me feel and if it looks like that time of year. I don't know if that makes any sense, but this just looks like a spring book. The next book on my list, I've had on my list since it was released, but with everything going on right now, I think it is, again, the perfect time to read this book, and I've wanted to read it, so I might as well. It is Jeanette McCurdy's I'm Glad My Mom Died, because of the Quiet on Set documentary that we've all been watching. I've been thinking more and more about her memoir because of that docu-series, so I figured it would be a great time to read this since I'm already thinking so much about that world, and I just need to. I really do need to read this, and I love reading memoirs in the spring, so it's the perfect time. The last book on my April TBR list is something I am saving, but hopefully I will read this month. It is Lisa Jewell's The Family Upstairs. Like I said, I love Lisa Jewell, and this is the only other book by hers that I own right now, so that's why I'm kind of savoring it, because in my mind, I know it's already going to be so amazing. Actually, I was gonna read the inside cover, but I don't want to read anything about it. I just want to go into it blind and see how it is. I mean, the back is just covered in great reviews. Lisa Jewell has done it again. Your hands quake. A haunting, atmospheric, stay up way too late read. Oh my god, I cannot wait. I'm definitely gonna save this book, but I cannot wait to get into it. I didn't want to overwhelm myself with too many books on my list this month because I'm still trying to get back into my routine, but those are the books on my April TBR list. So let me know your thoughts and if you've read any of these or any other books that you think I would enjoy. Also, let me know what books you're reading this month. My TBR list is always growing. Thank you so much for being here, and thank you so much for being understanding. I really was doing well with uploading consistently, and then just being sick for 2 weeks, I'm behind. I don't want to complain, but like that's just what's going on, and it's really hard to be consistent like that when you just lost 2 weeks, and I don't know. Yeah, I'm trying. I'm literally always just trying my best. So thank you so much for understanding that. Every book mentioned will be linked down below. I really hope April is a lot healthier than March was. I feel like I just have no memory of the last 2 weeks of my life because I wasn't doing anything but sleeping. March was off to such a great start, and hopefully I can get back to that in April because I was doing really well. That's kind of like my hope for April, and then once we're in April, we're only days away from May, and then it's basically summer. So I'm so excited. I have so many summer reads on my summer TBR list, so I should do like a big video of every single summer book I want to read this summer, because those books are like warm and vibrant and just summery, you know? So I'm really excited to dive into some books that I've been saving for that. But thanks so much for watching. I'll see you real soon with my next video. Bye!